When you come to OES, you don't have to change to belong at OES. It's our job to change to make this place a comfortable place for you. And that, we hope for students, makes it a really welcoming, engaging, inviting community. But for students who want to be in a place where I'm known, where I know others, this is the place. I think there's a lot of things that make Oregon Episcopal School a really different and special place. I mean, at the outset, we all know that OES is one of the oldest schools in the western part of the United States. 155-year history, this, I think, rich tradition, but still in the west coast of the United States, which is kind of this frontier mentality, that's something that's unbound by tradition, even though we have very rich traditions. So being able to rely upon that history and that identity is something that's really special. But I think more than what relying on the history, it's looking towards the future. It's something that OES is really good at. Understanding that the students who are in front of us today are the students. It's not about where they've been. I shouldn't say it's not about where they've been. Looking at the students that are on our campus today, it's about understanding who they are and what they can do instead of what we think students in their situation have done before. And being able to come to each day in our school, for every teacher, every student to come in and say, I am here now, what's going to be my experience, is something that's really special. So I think, what does that look like? What do students actually experience on our campus? Things that make OES actually stand out a little bit different. We're not a school that teaches to tests. We're not an IB school. We're not an AP school. We have some AP classes. We have lots of honors classes. Our curriculum is really guided by student inquiry, where students have incredible voice in I think what they learn, how they learn, the things that they're passionate about. And then we approach education at OES as from a place of understanding and believing that every student has natural curiosity. Our job is to nurture that curiosity, to turn a curiosity and idea into passion, to give them the tools and the skills, not to learn for a test so that they're done at the end of that test, but to learn the tools to keep learning throughout their lives. So for some students who are looking for that opportunity to be really active in their learning, to have teachers that are guides and mentors instead of the source of all knowledge, this is a really wonderful place. This is a place where students who, if they have that, I think that interest in project-based learning and rolling up their sleeves and getting their hands deep into whatever their subject they're studying, be it art or science or history, this is a really powerful place to do that. At the same time, this is a place that is really, really joyful. And I think that's really important for students, that your high school time can be serious. Your high school experience can be rigorous, but at the same time, you should be happy. It should be a fun, positive experience. And I think if you talk to OES students, that is an overarching theme that you'll hear from them. This is a place where they have that freedom to explore, yes, their academic curiosities, their academic passions, but also their personal passions, the clubs, the activities, the weekend outings that matter to them, that they want to do. So being able to be in that type of environment that's very about empowering student voice, that's hearing what students want to do, how they want to do it, and then having adults be able to facilitate that is something that's really special. And it's not the way that a lot of schools are run. And to be completely honest, it's not the right setting for every student, because every student is ready to be active in that way. But for those that are, this is a really great opportunity to do that. To say that the OES community is tight-knit is an understatement. Our students at OES are very well known. Our teachers are very well known. And that comes from a place of a deep desire to know each individual, but also it's rooted in our tradition of welcoming students as they are. When you come to OES, you don't have to change to belong at OES. It's our job to change to make this place a comfortable place for you. Oregon is a really relatively casual place to live. It's not rooted in formalities. It becomes really easy to have a casual conversation with someone who you just get to know without, again, having to go through a rigid hierarchy of names or titles. Most of our faculty at OES go by their first name with students. We also know that respect and credibility is not based on a student calling me by a title. It's based on the relationship I have and the relationship that a student and I have and the relationship that teachers have with each other. If a student at OES is having a bad day, we see it. And we gather as a group of faculty that work with that student to address it right away. At the same time, if something goes really well and really exciting for a student, maybe they are in speech and debate and they take first at a regional tournament, we celebrate that. We celebrate the athletes, we celebrate the musician, we celebrate the artist, and being in a place where all those things can be celebrated at once, where everybody has the thing that they're excited about, that thing that matters most to them, and being able to share that with others, again, I think is really empowering for students to see that these are adults that care about me. We spend a lot of time on it, and we know that it really matters for students and their success, not just academically, but socially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Those things all come together to make a whole student. And that's what we really care about at OES. I think there's so many ways. I think keeping yourself open to things you haven't heard of before, to schools in places you haven't heard of before, you haven't experienced, or you don't know much about yet, is the best advice I can give, because I think Oregon Episcopal School, I think OES is a really fantastic place to be. And I think there's an incredible energy and a loving, caring community that produces great work here. I think there are great schools around the United States. Keeping open to things that you haven't heard about yet is the best advice I can give. I think when it comes to getting to know our school in particular, I think this could apply to any school, to be completely honest, is not being afraid to ask questions. I think a lot of students, when they start interacting with someone in my role, they can get really nervous, and they can get really, they can feel there's a lot of pressure that they have to say the right thing, or they have to ask the question, or if I ask a question, that there's a response that I want to hear. I want to tell you all, no, that is not the case. If I ask you a question, the only thing I want to know is whatever you have to tell me about that question. Any question that you have for me is perfectly fine. Make it about you. Make it special and particular to you. What are things that you care about? And by all means, ask me tough questions. It's okay to make me work hard. It's something that a lot of students will start an email or a phone conversation with is, I'm sorry to bother you. And I have to tell you, my job is to be bothered. That is honestly, that is why I'm here. That's why people like me work at every boarding school in the United States. Well, maybe not people exactly like me, but people who have a job similar to mine, is that our job is to be bothered, to help you understand if we are a good fit for you. And at the same time, while we are trying to learn who you are trying to learn who we are. So these things are important to us. We want to get that true, authentic sense of who you are. And if you'd be a good connection for our community, the whole admission process is about understanding who an individual student is, and understanding that not every student is ready to thrive in our community, and not every student will be happy in our community, and being okay with that. For you as a family, as a student who's looking at a school, understanding there may be a school that you've dreamed of, you've heard something about, you've heard someone describe, but as you start learning about it, you say, oh no, I don't like this. It's okay to not pursue that school. There are people out there that can help introduce you to some other places that might be a better fit. And as you start looking at schools and you start, you'll learn a lot about yourself. And that's, I think, a really wonderful opportunity through this search for a boarding school. Things like, is being in a city important to me? Does it matter? What is cultural diversity? What does cultural diversity mean to this school? Does that cultural diversity mean to me? What does support look like for an international student? Is it just picking it at the airport and having someone that can help translate for a family member who does not speak English? Or is it more? Is it deeper? Is it having a restaurant with authentic food from home nearby? Is it having other students that I can talk to in a home and native language? Those things are all important, I think, for students to consider, and understanding that what is important to you and how you define something may be different than how other people define it and how other people expect or what other people want to find at a school. Say that's the most important thing, is to stay open to those possibilities as you explore what a school is and what it can be and what it could be for you as an individual.